Warning, this podcast contains spoilers and mature content.
Thanks for tuning in to Sad Girls and Anime.
This is Kiki.
And this is Kankei.
And today we bring you
Delicious in Dungeon. I don't know, I feel like this has been great.
I feel like it's been great so far. Again, we're long forming it. It.
Yep.
We got to get into the mood too, especially when we are covering very fun.
Yes, absolutely.
A very fun anime. What I would put up onto the renaissance of anime that I spoke of in the first episode.
Yeah.
Just like, it's... everyone else is talking about it. It's just, I see it everywhere online where people are just like, yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
As terrible as 2024 has been, there have been
it's been our respite.
Banger animes coming
Yeah, no, for real, though.
Oh, my gosh.
I just finished Dandadan, one of my new favorites.
Yeah.
That's honestly top 5, I would say. It is so, especially the intro. Oh my gosh, so good.
We're such teases right now.
Because we're not covering that one today, guys.
We're not going to. I have to kind of save us right away for that, but we're gonna do it, and
it's gonna be so good.
If you don't predict how we're gonna open that episode, just actually good for you. So
if you do,
yeah.
No, oh my god, I'm so excited to talk about Dandadan. Just from like a fashion perspective, because they have gyaru going on in there.
Yeah.
I freaking love gyaru fashion.
Yes.
I freaking love it.
So cute.
It's so cute. And all the cultural aspects that goes into it too. Like, I'm so excited.
We're going to do it soon, everyone. Soon.
Anyways, today...
we'll give you another type of D, though.
Yeah. Oh my god.
We might need to cut. That might be the blooper, actually. There's still a lot of D's in this one.
Yeah, 2 to be exact.
Yeah, 2. If you haven't guessed yet.
We are doing Delicious in Dungeon.
Dun, da, da, da.
That was the exact noise that was in my head.
Yeah.
Right before you said it.
We can't do the actual sound bit because that might be like a trademark thing, but you know.
We can make our own.
It's a basic enough noise.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. And this is one that I have been like, hey, have you watched it yet? But just being very patient because I hate when people push.
Yeah.
Like, you need to watch it. Oh, I want to talk about this because you need to watch it. Not gonna lie, Dandadan, I did that with a lot of people and continue to.
But that's warranted.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it later on. But not Delicious in Dungeon.
Yeah.
You did that so beautifully.
Thank you.
That came out so well.
I practice every night.
There you go, as you should. It's deserved. This one is another banger. I love so Delicious in Dungeon. Just, I'm so excited.
So good. Yes.
So yeah, Delicious in Dungeon came out 2024, primarily a Netflix release. From my understanding, it's part of their animation studio. Kind of subsec, but they are not the animation studio themselves. This is a Trigger one, as we've talked about before.
Love Trigger.
We love Trigger. Again, you can see how Delicious in Dungeon does have more symmetry to it than some of their other works have in Trigger. As we've talked about before, they have a very asymmetrical look. Delicious in Dungeon is a little bit more symmetrical, but it is just still so bubbly and fun.
Yes.
In the animation itself, let alone the content of the show.
Yeah. It feels like such like a childhood cartoon. That's like the vibes of it, honestly.
And that's gonna play into my rating today.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Do we want to get into the reading
Yeah.
then?
Unless you want to say something else. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're
Just-
fine. That's about. Let's go ahead and
Yeah.
rate. What rating would you give it?
Okay, so I'm gonna give Delicious in Dungeon a 4-tier rating.
Oh.
I know that that's high in a certain, but it's based off of three things. Two primary kind of emotional things. The line, what good are we if we can't nurture the next generation?
Oh, so good.
Even saying it hits my heart every time. I know I didn't finish it. What good are we if we can't nurture the next generation of dwarves is the actual line, and still applicable. But just again, like, I have been saying that to people, like, what good are we if we can't nurture the next generation?
Well, yeah. What is the point of us? What is the point of anyone?
Yeah, and it's
If
just
there's
like,
no future, there's no future.
we need to beat this into people's heads, especially right now.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah, I get at least. Sorry, I'm gonna go a little tangentially, but just in some of the environment and circumstance that we are in right now, being in the States and certain things, and I know that this is so arrogant of me to say. It's just like instances where I'm like, I think I care more about your children than you do.
No, I agree.
Like,
Honestly.
I vote against my best interest because I'm like, if the children, I don't even have children is the thing. I don't plan on having children. I got the old snippety, if you will.
Little stippity and cauterize.
Yep, little stippity cauterize. Like, just not gonna let it happen. And just like, again, I've voted against my own best interest
Yeah.
multiple times. Because I'm like, what good am I if I can't nurture the next generation?
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
I really don't understand. What if you don't know, with like current politics for the U.S., there's a whole mess going on. One of the topics is school lunches happening, and this isn't as much as a federal thing going on, but it's a huge problem within each individual state. I know in our state, several districts have tried to propose it, but so many people go to the meetings and they're like, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to pay for some other kid to have food. And I'm like, what? That's ridiculous. I'll pay for their lunch.
I will pay for their lunch.
I will pay for their lunch. For so many kids, that is the only meal that they have that day. Or only, like, real meal that they want. Not that school lunches are all that great.
Yeah.
But at least it's
something.
Yeah. And it just blows my mind that, I don't know, it's like just... It just drives me up a wall.
It's literally kind of growling into the mic. Just like a heavy, like...
It's like, what good are we?
Yeah, what good are we? Also, how do you get to a point in, like, evolution of the human mind and thinking of survival to where you just are blatantly inhumane? Like, what causes that anyway?
Yeah.
So what good are we if we can't nurture our own generation? See, you're seeing why the tears are getting there. Laios' story.
Oh, it's sad.
I was not necessarily, like, anime tears crying, but it's just like, oh my gosh, Laios, you're such a sad girl. And you don't know it.
It's so true.
And just like also like the of why Fallon is there with Laios too.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh, this is so sad.
It is. Oh.
And then to the fact, as you said, like, it's childhood kind of cartoon film. I would have a breakdown if I need to get this on digital media, like actually something tangible, because it's like, I think I would legitimately have a breakdown if I couldn't have this on in the background at times.
Totally fair. I get that.
Like, I would just be playing the episodes in my mind out loud and just be like, I've literally fallen asleep. Here's the thing, everyone. I would tell you usually, like, I have Wikipedia up. You would tell that I'm reading off of something. I am not, because I have fallen asleep to this episode so many, like, just this show in general so many times. I know it front to back.
I love it. That's me with Psyche K.
Yeah, love it.
Which is not a sad girl show, but
yeah.
It is a comfort show in that same sense.
Exactly. And we want to bring the comfort into sad girl in a certain sense.
Exactly.
Because it's just like, even if something doesn't make you super emotional, the thoughts that it can provoke in you, and also like your response to it and attachment to it. Like, I'm so attached to this show.
Oh, it's a good show.
It's so good.
So good.
So good.
So 4-tier rating done with all of that.
Yeah.
Going into it.
Yep, that's... I've given you the reason behind my rating. There you go.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, it's between... I want to give it like a 2 or a 3. Because, you know, there are those couple things where it's like, oh, sad moments. But the show as a whole wasn't very sad girl to me.
Yeah.
It was very just fun, wholesome, comfort type show, kind of that nostalgic childhood cartoon feel. So that's why I give it like maybe a 2 or a 3 tiers for me.
And fair. I was, maybe I'm just a little generous today too. I was kind of gearing towards 3, but I'm like, no, when I think about if I did not have this show, life would get much more difficult.
Yeah, and you gotta factor that in too.
Yeah,
you know, like what it means to you. And that's why our ratings are gonna be different, because it means different things to both of us.
And people are gonna be like, why would you only give it that? Or why would you rate it that high?
Yeah.
See,
or why
I'm
would
justified.
You rate it that low or whatever.
Yeah, I'm justified. I'm justified to you on that.
Exactly.
And also just, again, the renaissance.
So good.
Of anime right now. And this is medievally. And as we have talked about, we fantasy girls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Yeah. Just, I love fantasy and just the fantasy and universe that this is all in. Oh,
so good.
it's adorable.
Yeah.
We love it.
It's so fun. I honestly, there must be like a pipeline from voraciously consuming fantasy novel series as a kid to anime. Because I know I'm not the only one.
Oh, yeah. I could definitely, and same.
Yeah.
Same, because like fantasy and anime, they're so in tune with each other. I'm gonna do a... Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're still going.
Oh, yeah, we're still going. The computer's smarter than I am.
But don't trust technology.
Don't trust technology. Yep. Okay. I think that's a good little...
Yeah. Oh, speaking of don't trust technology, Apple put out a new update. I just recently switched to Apple after being a Samsung girly for who knows how long now.
Yeah.
Apparently they put out an update for their new AI software stuff, and they opted you in to the AI monitoring your activity on every single app on your phone. And you have to go in to every single app and manually remove the permission and go down all of your apps on your phone and do that for every single freaking one.
My eyes were just closed majority of when Kaneki was explaining that.
Because it's ridiculous.
Nope. There's, honestly, my phone has been like, hey, we have an update to privacy. Can you just like, okay this? And I just keep on ignoring.
Yeah. I do the same.
Yeah. I'm just like, no, I don't want to be updated.
I'm good. This works just fine.
I not to be so pretentious, just like I've really debated. You can't anymore in this day and age, because especially with GPS, and it is so convenient to look up something. Oh, excuse me. At any time. But if I could just go back to a clamshell, man.
I want a flip phone so freaking bad. That's another reason I'd love to live in Japan, because they still have flip phones and they're still usable over there. They have smart flip phones too, where it's like limited features. So it's a little smart, but still mainly a flip phone. I want that so freaking bad, but I guess that would be too much of a competition in the US, so they lobby it out. That's why we can't have here. Oh, fuck, what are these called? The Huawei.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I have an idea.
It's the Asian phone. The Huawei.
I'm sorry.
I'm singing a song over here, I guess.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
This has to be the vibe for Delicious in Dungeon,
no,
though.
You're so right. Oh my gosh. Anyways, those phones not allowed in the US because they would be too much of a competition against what we already have here.
Ooh.
Same with cars. Like there's a lot of Chinese cars, fantastic cars, amazing features, affordable. They put out this pink car, the most adorable pink SUV, $15K. Not allowed in the US.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. Well,
It's ridiculous. And now they're banning TikTok. And that's not even Chinese.
Yeah. Yeah, the capital market really does not want to be capitalist at all.
No. They say, oh, it's a free market.
No.
It's
a monopoly.
Yeah, no, for real. It's like the whole rules for thee, but not for me.
Yep. What could we have?
For real.
If not for you damn capitalist lobbyists.
So true. Lobbying, oh my gosh, lobbying is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It should be illegal.
It should be.
It really should be, because it's literally legal bribery. Why is that being allowed into our policy making?
Under the new policy, we're just going to be hung after this episode, just like...
Track them down.
We cannot have this type of free speech. Oh, no, hate speech. Hate speech.
Speaking of free speech, so they're banning TikTok, right?
Yep.
Hey, did you hear that everyone is now switching over to the Chinese version of TikTok?
No, but I could see that's a very natural progression.
It is so funny.
Here's the thing: reality is always stranger than fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah.
Fiction.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Not for well, reality has a lot of friction lately. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah.
But
but it's hilarious because now Red is the #1 most downloaded app on the App Store, which is hilarious because I know for a fact Zuckerberg was thinking everyone is gonna hop back on all the Meta apps.
No,
their numbers are dropping down.
Yeah,
and everyone's hopping over to an actual Chinese app.
Yeah.
And now the government's saying, oh, actually, maybe we won't ban TikTok. We'll maybe put an extension on it. And it's like, oh, you made your bet. You gotta lie in it.
Yeah. It's just like, you can't buy everything that you want, people. Why are people fucking obsessed with this idea?
It's so ridiculous.
Or like the best or the most. And like, again, what happens in human evolution where you just become inhumane as a part of the survival aspect of it?
I think it's kind of like an individualistic kind of ideology. Once we get into kind of more of a survivor mode or mindset, you become a lot more important than community. Because now it's, I need to keep myself alive and my immediate family alive. And that's kind of what I personally see happening in our kind of world going on right now, is people are becoming way too individualistic, where it's, no, I'm not going to pay for school lunches because I don't want to. It's me. Which to a point, absolutely, you should care about yourself and your family and your finances and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
But also, we should be putting out into our communities and helping each other out as a whole.
It just made me, it's just like, here's the thing. I know that my mental health is not, I just, both sides of the family, it's very evident. And just like, am I that sick in the head where I'm just like, another thing too, I have literally turned to my partner when we watch like those, the spouse will do literally anything for their person to survive, even if it means killing other people and doing horrible, inhumane things. Isn't that so beautiful? Just let me die, for fuck's sake. Like,
if I find out you murdered other people just for me, we're done. Yeah. I don't want you anymore.
Or like the zombie apocalypse, like trying to go back. I'm like, just leave me.
Just let me die.
I'm bit. Just like, like.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
And I guess what good are we if we can't nurture the generation, but what good are we if I'm just dead anyway? But, you know.
Well, in the zombie apocalypse situation, that would mean you're not taking resources.
Yeah.
That would be the positive.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the sick feeding of, like, what happens, too, when it's just, like, you grow up as a child in America, you're just another mouth to feed. My parents never had that, like, narrative or did that. It just also, when you do come from certain economic stances, it's just sort of, like, you learn very quickly that it's just, like, you are a being taking up resource.
Yeah. And it is a cultural thing, too. Like, over in Japan, it is a very cultural thing of if you have more than, like, 2, maybe even 3, you're being selfish. Because you're taking resources from the government, from the community, from other people. And it is a kind of like a cultural mindset, which, honestly, I don't disagree with.
I don't disagree with that.
Which that might make me a horrible person.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
I'll be a horrible person in some way. And just, it's at a certain point I have to not care because it's just too diminishing to my
Yeah, I think everyone has the right to have as many children as they want, as long as they can properly care for every single child. Not saying that they have to do that without any assistance.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
People should be getting assistance with children.
Absolutely. Children are a lot.
I'm done with the narrative that we just let people pop out a baby and then come to their job sleep deprived because they have a literal baby.
Yeah.
That is keeping them from sleep, but they have to function in society so they can take care of that baby.
Yeah. And it's like, don't you want people to have babies? And yet you're making it so difficult for people to do that. No wonder the birth rates are declining. Like, what do you want?
So upset.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, people, you know, so many people and politicians are like, oh, the birth rates are declining. And they're blaming it on all these other things. And I guess the approach for the U.S. is just to take away reproductive health care and just force people to have children. Which, like, it's not going to fix the problem. It just
feels like it would cost so much less. Just like $50,000 for you have a baby, $50,000.
Yeah.
Boom. That's like your yearly salary. Yes, we know that is technically low. We know that that's not enough.
Yeah, but it's something.
But still, it's a lot of people's salaries.
That could at least pay for childcare.
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
Yeah, it's just, it's crazy. So many other countries are doing way better with their maternity care and just support after having a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say look at Japan or Korea, but their birth rates are notoriously low for completely other different reasons. They have other cultural stuff going on.
Yeah, But here, it's just like, everywhere is having the declining birth rate problem. It just is like, I know it is kind of somewhat dumb and naive for me to say, but it's just like, we also see that it doesn't cost nearly as much if you just provide the resource.
Yeah. No, if a tiny little country like Japan, not to like minimize them or anything, but they are physically a very small country, if they are able to provide such amazing care and they're able to fund that, why can't an enormous country like the United States do the same?
Yeah.
And I understand maybe it couldn't be like a federal thing, but why can't states find a way to fund that?
Yeah. We know that it's more difficult than it is, but just the like the result that you know that you need to get to is not difficult to see and realize.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is like a lot of our politicians know it. A lot of our people in power know it. But yeah. Rules for thee, no rules for me.
No, for real. That's what it is.
I did little raccoon hands like tick, 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 tick. It's like, why?
Yeah. It's like there's so many different solutions, but they're like, no, we're gonna handmaid tale this.
My portfolio needs to look better.
It needs to look good on paper.
Yes. Oh, fuck.
We're screwed, is what it is.
You know who else is screwed?
Who?
This whole little team of people that get stuck in a situation where your ghost and healing mage gets eaten by a dragon.
I was so lost. I was like, what is she talking about?
I'm so sorry. I just laughed so hard at the mic, everyone. Oh. I didn't mean to do that. We're practicing.
I was really confused, but I was like willing to see where this went. So I was like, okay, let's see where she goes with this. That was such like a hard right turn.
But also, what an opening to just a series in general.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Pacing,
just
fantastic.
boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
You're in.
Mm-hmm. Like, first episode, it was like, what, 10 minutes of being in the regular town, and then it was into the dungeon we go. Not even 10 minutes, probably even less.
Yeah, like maybe 5,
maybe 5.
Honestly, probably less than that.
They were up above for so little time. It was just, oh, okay, the whole Fallon situation happened where they go to fight the dragon.
Yeah.
They're so hungry that they can't fight it.
Yeah.
They all die. Well, not quite.
Not quite.
They were going to all die.
We were pretty much there.
Yeah, basically. Everyone's, like, injured. People are laying around. Mm-hmm. Fallon gets chomped on by the... I almost said dinosaur. Dragon.
What is the difference? Yeah.
Right. The one has wings, but...
Yeah.
Anyways. Fallon, in the dragon's teeth, gonna be a tasty little snack. And she goes, oh no, all dramatic, like, oh no, I'm gonna...
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like, to fully explain to Fallon, okay, so this is a spoilers one, everyone.
Yeah.
We're spoiling.
Spoiling, yeah.
You hear Fallon be like, I think it's either brother or look out, brother. Mm-hmm. And just, Laios is like, what is she doing?
He's so hungry that he's, like, delirious.
It's like, what are you And then she, get out of here. And puts up her staff, and you see a big light. And then we're up on the surface.
Yep.
So we go from dungeon fiery hell of Dragonscape. We literally open our eyes. It's so good. It's so good.
Great transition.
Beautiful transitions. Fantastic pacing. We get the little 4-story too about how there is a town that, in the midst of them creating this town, in their catacombs that they have, there arose a withered old man. Mm-hmm. They find this golden kingdom, and the man is like, anyone who can defeat the man mage can have possession of all my kingdom. Mm-hmm. We cut into, we're in this said dungeon, and we cut to, we're back on the surface, because we basically almost died.
Yeah.
So as we said, we're in town for just like a few minutes.
Yep.
Not long, but long enough for 2 of their party members to resign.
Yep, they're like, yeah, screw this. We're broke. We almost died.
Yeah.
Peace.
They're out. So in total, we have, as we said, Fallon, Laios. Mm-hmm. They are the Totem siblings.
Yep, and they are the 2 tall men.
Yep, the 2 tall men of the group.
Which are basically like the humans of this world. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. God, I love this world. I love this little universe. Anyway, so we have our Tallman. Mm-hmm. Then we have Marcel, who is our elf.
I don't like Marcel, but we'll get into that.
Marcel is very a classical elf trope that is coming into play.
Yeah.
That is Marcel. We have Chilchuck. Oh, Chilchuck.
Chilchuck's fun.
Chilchuck is the fucking best.
I knew that. I knew you would love him.
I love Chilchuck. Like, honestly, like, I pegged the Chilchuck character way before we get the reveal. Anyway, love Chilchuck. Uh-huh. And then we have Namari, who is our dwarf.
And she is one that left the party.
Yep, she is one that left. So we have Fallon, Laios, Marcel, Chilchuck are still here. Mm-hmm. But we gotta get further into that.
Yep.
And then we have Shiro, who is another Tallman. He is from the east.
Yep. So he's Asian, everybody.
Yeah. he is samurai in training.
yeah, basically. And some
Yeah.
type of noble.
Yeah.
He's got cash. He's got money.
Yeah. He has the funds to just come through. It's like, this is a strength training for me to go into this dungeon.
Yep.
Honestly, this is going to sound so weird, but I love it when anime is like, I'm going to be in a Western world and then I'm going to bring in my Eastern culture to it, even though this is all Eastern culture.
Yeah.
There's just something that's such a fun flavor.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fusion.
It's the little contrast, you know? It makes it fun.
And honestly, this is going to be so stupid of me to say, but Asian fusion is literally my favorite food. Like,
it's good though.
it's so good.
So good.
And just Asian food in
delicious.
general. And just, yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I really want sushi now.
I know. See.
I've been thinking about that deli sushi ever since we had some the other day.
My literal comfort food.
So good.
And we're going to talk a lot about food in this episode,
Oh, that's what this is all about.
Yeah, deli sushi. It is.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. I do need to have good legitimate sushi, and I have. Need to do it in Japan. We've talked about this.
Yep.
We're
gonna
gonna
do
make it.
It's manifesting.
But Konbini's gonna be the first, cause
Yeah. We gotta know.
yeah.
Which I'm still so freaking pissed that I didn't have any sushi while I was literally in Japan.
Yeah,
What
that's
is
not your
wrong-
fault.
It was my group.
It's
No one
not
else
your
likes
fault.
sushi,
Here's the
but-
thing. I understand if you're a fish hater. By no means am I wanting to bully you or pick on you. It's just like, you ruined the vibe for us fish lovers. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's
for
true.
real, yeah.
It's just like,
I feel like people
we
who
cater to you.
Exactly.
Grovel.
Worship me. I am giving you so much every single day. No, but for real, like, we would go do meat, we would go do all the other foods, which all the foods are fantastic, but no sushi.
Yeah.
Because something I've noticed with a lot of fish haters, it's not only do they not like to eat sushi or fish, it's like they can't
be around
They
it.
can't be around it. They can't stand the smell. They don't like the look of it. For my mom especially, if she sees sushi, she completely loses her appetite and even gets a little nauseous. Which, that really sucks. And I don't
really
want
suck.
to make her nauseous or anything.
But it's just like at a certain point, you all need to just agree you're going to separate for dinner.
Yeah. We're all going to go our separate ways.
And it's just like, I understand that is not logically what happens. It's just like...
Yeah.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
It's okay. But when we go to Japan,
Yeah.
we will have sushi.
Yeah.
We will have sushi. It'll be great.
I just coined my comfort food, deli sushi. What's your comfort food?
Arroz con leche.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you've had that before. It's
Not that I know of.
I'll have to make some for you.
Okay.
It's my mom would make. I have vivid memories of my mom making it for me when I was really, really little, when we were like really poor, because it's like a really cheap thing to make, and it's so freaking good. It's basically just rice, with, what's it called in English? It's like not evaporated milk, but
Sweetened condensed milk.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yep. With that and like cinnamon and whatever else you want to mix in there. And it's the perfect texture. It's not too soft. It's just, and it's not too sweet. It's just absolutely perfect. And you can have it warm or cold. So you can like cook it and eat it right then, and then it's just like this nice warm, and then you can stick it in the fridge and eat it later, and it's still delicious when it's cold.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It is
So good. Yeah.
Not to something, just as a suggestion, because we're in the United States. It'd be kind of weird if you didn't have a Mexican market near you, if you didn't know what this was.
Yeah. Well, honestly, we're everywhere.
Yeah.
I even found a Mexican restaurant in Japan. Like,
Exactly. Just like
we're everywhere. We're like cockroaches. We're just...
the Mexican invasion that everyone is talking about.
We will come and we will bring our taco stands and... and you will thank us for it.
Yeah. The real crime happening is just, we're faulty on the permits, but who cares? It's street taco.
It's delicious.
Yeah, like, it's the fucking point. Sorry, y'all. I'm very cussy today. But, oh my god. It just is. That just, by the way, that, especially cold or room temp, pomegranate seeds.
Oh, just like in there? Oh. I have to try that.
Yeah.
For me, it's normally
you don't
just...
have to, but it's very good.
It sounds delicious. For the way my mom makes it is just, she uses full cinnamon sticks.
Yeah.
And she just cooks it in there with it. And then also puts extra cinnamon.
You gotta sprinkle the cinnamon on top, or else it's not.
Exactly. Yeah. The classic way of doing it. But I've also had it with raisins in it, which is also really good.
Yeah.
So I imagine pomegranate's probably delicious too.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
Food. This is food. We're gonna be so hungry. We're gonna be so hungry.
We're gonna be like,
and you know who else
after this
is so hungry?
Well, I don't know if I would call him hungry, but just like one track mind type thing.
Yeah.
Because he isn't always like starving.
Yeah.
But he is like, oh, I wonder how that would taste.
Yes. This is Laios' deal. Really, one track, there's a goal in mind, that goal needs to be met. And it's kind of first come, first serve. But also Marcel and Chilchuk, who are still a part of the team, because we had this beautiful little moment where here's the thing, Laios, Marcel, Chilchuk, Fallon, that's who our group is, but Fallon is not there, as we
She
said.
got eaten.
She got munched by a dragon. And so the really cool thing that I love about the show too, and just like the fantasy lore and all that, this dungeon has a type of spell and or curse in which you die, but you cannot die.
Well, you die, but you can be revived.
Yeah. So your soul is close, and they do a really good job as they progress in explaining this. Like, the soul doesn't necessarily leave the body. So they're talking about the logistics. Okay, well, dragons move slowly. So if we get to her in time, we can revive her.
Before she's digested.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. And Shiro and Namari, honestly, not their responsibility.
Yeah. They're just like, see ya.
Not the greatest thing to have done, but you cannot blame them.
Yeah.
You cannot blame them. But Marcel, I'm going to do a little bit. I have watched it both sub and dub. I do prefer the dub, I will say. It just, and that's the thing with this renaissance happening too, the cadence of a lot of dubs, they're done so well.
Honestly, yeah, they've been doing really good with dubs.
Yeah. Beautiful. Like, to where I do prefer, like I said, I prefer the dub, but I've watched it both just because sometimes I don't like to fully know what's happening while I'm falling asleep to this, because then I get distracted and want to watch the episode. But anywho, it's just so good. So good. So Laios, Marcel, we figure out, is Fallon's childhood friend. It's very obvious that they have a very close attachment to each other.
Yep.
And Chilchuk is just like, yeah, I'll stick around. We later find out it's because he's contracted and he cannot leave.
He's just kind of stuck there.
yeah. Not to spoil that too soon, but it's just like, oh my gosh, I love how cool he plays it. But it's like, he's like, well, I'm kind of stuck here actually.
Yeah, I actually can't go anywhere.
And it's like, I'm not just gonna let you all wander into this dungeon and die, because Laios has to save Fallon. Like, again, he's one track mind. So even though they are starving,
they have no money
because they got transported, their items didn't.
Yep.
Or like what was on their person.
Yeah. So like Marcel still has her little stick staff. You know, they still have some of their basic gear, armor, but no pouches, no provisions, no fancy weapons, no coin. They're broke. Effectively
broke, and this doesn't hit Marcel because they're walking through the town. And Laios is also trying to like do math, like, could we sell our current gear to get more gear, more party members? What do we have to do? Like, and Chilchuk's having to be realistic and be like, Laios, no, like, we're not going to get money for your armor.
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
It's not gonna, they could get money, but it's not gonna be enough to last them.
Not even close.
Yeah, not to get to how deep in the dungeon they were.
Yeah.
Which the dungeon in this world, this specific area in this world, it's split up into levels. And the deeper you go, the harder it is. Just like a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like, I like to say that this movie is literally just a D&D campaign.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Because they have, like, the rogue, which is Chilchuck, you know. They go through the sneaky, he picks the locks and the traps and everything.
Yes. Oh, and we forgot to mention Chilchuck is a half-foot.
Oh, right. Yeah, we didn't mention that. So he's the little guy.
Yeah. Which... it's not quite Hobbit in this world, because they don't live very long. Mm-hmm. It seems like their lifespan's about 50 to 80.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you're old if you're 80.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's...
Very, very D&D, because they also have half foot or halflings, or I forget what they're called. Tieflings?
We know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're little people. They're just a little human.
Yeah, classic fantasy stuff going on here, with all the races, with the magic, just everything happening in the dungeon. It is literally just a D&D campaign. Yeah, and I love it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I think that's why they chose Delicious in Dungeon for the English titling of it, because the manga and the Japanese title Dungeon Meshi, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Yeah, meshi, which is food, dungeon food. So that's
so Delicious in Dungeon, and then food. Okay,
and I think that's why they pick. Like, here's the thing. Again, we're not gonna try to like get into. This is more of a fan theory. We're not gonna super get into that. We are gonna talk about the creator, though, Ryoki Kui's 2 interviews that you just look them up. They're very easy to find.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to quite get into that right now. I think later on.
Yeah.
But it's just so good. It's a D&D campaign. You have your multiple races. Like, there is a literal dungeon that needs to be conquered.
Yep. Everyone has their very categorized class and job, just like in D&D.
Yeah. And And again, Rokokui does actually mention, like, D&D being the inspiration. There are other ones we'll get a bit further into, but it's so perfect.
It's super good.
So good. Like,
but yeah. Anyways,
yes,
they're discovering they're broke, don't got shit, so they got to figure out something to do. Yeah. And of course, Laos is like, actually,
I have a proposition. Well, and part of this too is he's like, hey, we got to make sure that you two truly are on board. Because you face certain death. There's like, that's literally the word.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
he's so dramatic. It's so beautiful.
But it's true, because they were quite deep in the dungeon with where the Red Dragon was at. Yeah. And he knows, okay, if we're going to go down this plan that I have, we may not make it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're walking through town. Like, Laios is getting to the point of like, okay, realistically, this is going to be starting what we do. And Marcel's just like, oh my gosh, we could go to the food hall. That pub has a dumpling soup that's to die for. But they have no money.
Yeah, no money, no coin.
So, Laios' proposition. Kaneki, do you want to do the honors of that? Yeah. This is going to be an easy episode for me. Default whenever you want to.
But I don't remember the exact words he used, but he basically is like, hey guys, what if we eat the monsters in the dungeon? The
dungeon has its own ecosystem.
Exactly.
That sustains itself.
So therefore, we should be able to just slot right into that ecosystem. Yeah. Just pop right in there. Yeah. That should work, right? Yes. That's how ecosystems work.
That is how ecosystems work. To eat or be eaten.
Exactly, yeah.
To eat is a privilege of the living.
It's true, though. Dead people don't eat.
Yes. And that is that's what's going to happen.
And Marcel especially is like,
no. I don't want to eat icky monster. And Laios does bring up, it's like, there are people that eat monsters.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but they're blowing chunks from each end and are constantly sick.
Yeah. And Laios is like, no. I got this. It's like, gonna be okay.
Yeah. Let me show you. I have a very well-used book.
Which I find so funny, because as the series goes on, you learn, like, oh, he's been wanting to do this for, like, forever.
Yeah, and Chilchuck does call him out. He's like, is this some, like, type of weird, sick fantasy of yours? And he's like, no, this is for my sister. And he's like, all right, I'll admit it. I love monsters. I love everything about them. How they look, and I've always wanted to know how they taste.
Which, fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, they, decide, okay, well, this is the only way this is going to work, because we don't have money for food.
Yeah.
Can't get provisions or anything, so we're just going to have to see how this goes. Got no other option.
In the dungeon.
They already agreed to it. So back into the dungeon they go.
Yeah.
And in the first level, it's like they're walking in, it's kind of catacomby, skulls and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they get into like an open area where it's actually kind of a bit of a market. Since this is like the first floor of the dungeon, it's basically safe. Like, there's not really anything happening here.
No.
Other than the occasional, like, harmless creepy crawly going on,
Yep.
And harmless creepy crawly is what they decide to try first. They find this little walking mushroom. Which becomes like the mascot of the show. He opens every episode. He's just this cute little mushroom that's just like tick, 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 tick. He's just like merrily walking along.
Yep.
And he's cute.
Yeah.
So they try to do the mushroom. And did they just do the whole mushroom, or did they try to like do the top of it? I don't remember.
So part of this too is I'm not gonna look it up, but I'm curious if I do get this right on. Mm-hmm. It is scorpion and mushroom hot pot.
Ah, that's right. He was looking at a recipe in his little book. And then they get the scorpion in the wall.
Yeah.
And they get that guy to come out.
Marcel's like, you caught it like a crayfish. And it's like, that's how you're supposed to do it.
Says right here.
As I have said, like, again, this is part of why it's 4 tiers. Like, this show has kind of reverted me into sort of a toddler mind state. I can just whip it, like, I know it. I know it all front to back. I've watched it so many times. I've fallen asleep to it. I love this show.
It's so good.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways.
We got a walking mushroom.
Got a walking mushroom.
And a scorpion.
Yeah, and a scorpion. Yeah. And they're
Big
like,
one.
hey, oh yeah, quite large.
Yeah.
It's like a small child.
Yeah.
It's quite large. Same with the mushroom. Mushroom's also like a child size, I would say.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's do this. They're all gung-ho about it.
Yeah. Not Marcel, though. No.
Marcel's...
We need to make that very clear.
Marcel, I just do not like her.
Fair.
And from the very get-go, I did not like her. Firstly, her voice is annoying as hell. I don't know what it is about her voice, but I just don't, it bothers me so much.
It is very jarring to the ears.
It is. What does she remind me of? Her personality is so middle school, honestly. Yeah, that's fair. She does seem to have like a reverting into that almost. Just with
throughout. Yeah,
and she does like the anime type exaggerated.
Oh, she's
emotives.
A trope.
Yeah, she is. She's through and through a trope.
You cannot tell me that the current elf comic that you see is not Marcel. Like that's I'm sure
Marcel.
You know what I'm talking about right
absolutely.
now. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's Marcel. And because of that, she drives me up a wall. I can't stand her. I mean, like, I don't hate her. Like, I'm okay to watch the show with her in it. It didn't ruin the show for me. I just very much did not like her one bit. Her voice, her personality, she just has such a need to, firstly, be useful all of the time to a detrimental point where she's actively causing harm.
Yeah.
And like I completely understand, like, not wanting to be useless. It's like I don't like just sitting there not doing anything, because then I feel awful.
Yeah.
Totally get it, Marcel. You and me both. But she takes it to such another level.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my god, girl, sit the fuck down.
Literally the second episode, she takes it to the next level.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we get a taste for Marcel.
Yeah,
just very quickly on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She just, I just don't like her.
No,
and how she's
fair.
so they finish making their little soup, and Marcia's fighting it. She does not want to try it. She is wailing. She just does not want to do it.
She does not want to eat monster. But here's the thing: this is where they get their ingredients, and then they go into the open market area.
Yep.
And Marcel is like, ugh. Like, people are gonna watch us eating monsters. And Lionel's just like, well, this is the best place to build a fire. Like, the water's right there. We need it. Like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
In comes. Because you can tell that they are struggling. Da, 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 da. Not to speak for you, Kaneki. I'm gonna say our favorite character.
Yeah, I would agree.
Senshi.
Yes.
And we have a little meme to give to really explain this love for Senshi. And Senshi coming in and saving the day, because this group, Laios obviously wants to eat monsters, but he's not fully prepared. He's going off of a guide, and in fact, he tries to eat the scorpion's tail, which he was not supposed to do.
Yep.
Because it's full of toxins and stuff.
Yeah, that's
and
a no-no.
so Senshi sees this and comes in and is like, looks like you folks could use a little. He's like, I'm so glad to see. Well, and he like is not even like, it looks like you all could use some help. He's just like, I'm so glad to see some other people enjoying monster cuisine. Like I do.
Yeah.
We love Senshi anyway.
Great entrance too.
Okay, here's our little meme. We got Mash from Mashel. Magic and Muscles to give us, because this is in the format of a certain meme that we all know, but we're not going to use it because you know why. We were talking about creeps earlier. We ain't going to let no creeps just roll their way in here. Anyway, so we have Mashel that in the beginning episode, he's swatting away a thing of magic, if you haven't seen this show. And that is where we have Senshi is sexy.
Which seems to be the general consensus.
That is the general consensus now. Here is our consensus. Is then Mash pointing yes to, I want to be Senshi.
Yes.
I love Senshi. I want to be Senshi.
I love Senshi. I don't want to fuck him.
No.
Except in that one episode where all of a sudden he was like way attractive. I was like, wait, hang on. I kind of get it now.
Handsome Senshi. Isn't Senshi more handsome?
Yeah.
No? I'm going to quote this show way too much. I'm sorry. Like, this tells you the love.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to be Senshi.
Yes.
Like, Senshi is so damn cool. Senshi is the coolest ever.
Yeah.
Senshi has the best equipment in pot. It's just like, I want this pot so bad. It is a giant wok. It doesn't have a handle on it like a wok, though. It is this giant pot made of obviously a very sturdy type of metal with handles on the sides of it, and then it has a lid for it. And so he starts whipping out his like just equipment and all of his cooking stuff, and as we were talking about, we're foodie girlies.
Through and through.
Love food so
good.
much.
I love being alive.
Yeah.
Just for food.
Just for food.
Yeah, for real.
And so Senshi comes in and he's like, "Plop, let me just help you. Like, I'm so glad to see other people enjoying monster cuisine." And creates the most delicious looking hot pot.
Oh, yeah.
I would eat it. Would you eat dungeon food?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would eat dungeon food.
Please, I want to eat dungeon food.
Yeah, I think I would do really well in this universe.
Oh, absolutely. Same.
I don't have the problem with eating the dungeon food.
No, she's not like freaking Marcel.
Yeah,
She's not happy about it.
And here's the thing, is it's like he makes the most beautiful meal. And she like picks a fit about roots growing in the catacombs. Like, it's a type of monstrous plant that the way that it grows is through this area. And she's like, I'm not eating plants by corpses. And she's like, that's how like agriculture works, Marcel.
Yeah, that's the whole circle of life.
Yeah.
Literally, like the Lion King, what the antelope dies, nourishes the grass. The grass grows. The antelope eats it. Lion eats antelope.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. We literally see that in some of this too. Anyway, it's just like that. It's the point. Like, and everyone has to keep on reminding Marcel. It's like, Marcel, that's how it's done up top. Like, this is not. Oops, sorry, my chords and stuff.
You keep smacking that. It's got bills to pay.
If you couldn't hear, my hands are everywhere. I'm so excited. Anyway, just like keep on being like, Marcel, stop. But they can't be like that with Marcel. Marcel would not do well.
No.
Marcel would not do well.
She would take it straight to heart. She would take it offensively, and then she'd be all annoyingly mopey about it.
Yep, that would be Marcel. Which I don't hate Marcel per se. I just have, when I get attached to shows like this, I just have my love for each character, and it's in a different way. It's like
there
children.
Are aspects of her
except Senshi. Senshi is the number one, but everyone else,
he is the winner.
You're my children. I can't pick one.
That's fair.
But anyway, so the most delicious looking hot pot. Senshi like pulls out this little slime and everything. He makes noodles and because Marcel, she's screaming so loud she gets hit by a slime.
Oh right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So Senshi is the motherfucking coolest.
Oh, he's so cool.
He and Marcel is like, I'm gonna die. I've been slimed before, but no one's here to revive me. And he knows exactly how to deal with this slime. Handles the situation, talks about how you prepare the slime.
Which I love this about Senshi, is that it's like a cooking show. Yeah. Everything that he does while he's cooking, he narrates it like he literally has his own professional cooking show. Yeah. He's like, well, first we have to cut off the limbs, and then we need to slice it up like this. Then add it to the water while it's boiling. Let it boil for whatever he's saying. Yeah. Add the spices at this point. At this time, stir it this many times, whatever. Like, it literally is a whole little cooking show. And his voice is so calming.
Yeah, the best voice actors for just...
so good.
I hope it's like that for all the other languages, too. It's just, like, the best voice actors. Both Japanese...
Oh, yeah.
And English.
They did great.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great.
Yeah.
So Senshi steps in.
Yeah, Senshi steps in. He makes the dish for them, teaches them everything that they need to do. Okay, don't eat the tail. That's bad for you.
And then takes the time to be like, so what put you all in this circumstance? He actually takes the time to get to the people around him again. Senshi is the coolest.
He is, yeah.
And Laios explains, it's like, well, Ace just got eaten by a red dragon. Or no, he describes the dragon with big crimson scales, and then Senshi's like, oh, that's the red dragon. Like, that's a red dragon. I've been wanting to eat one of those for years.
Can I, join you guys?
Yeah, and it's,
Basically.
Yeah, and Senshi is just like, or Laios is like, that'd be great to have you around, because this is what I think is...
We gotta eat monsters. You know how to... make monster cuisine.
Oh my god.
This'll work great.
And we're on our merry way.
And we're going.
First floor, second episode. Boom. Now we are on the second floor.
Yep.
Which is, again, this universe is so fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's basically the tips of this castle. Because the lore is a castle gilded in gold. Has been sunk to the bottom of this where it once was. It's gone into the ground. And so you're walking through, and it's basically the tops of this castle in this village. And there are all these bridges joining. It's so cool.
It is super cool.
So freaking cool. And yeah, they're kind of walking through. The second episode, I believe it is Big Bats and Fruit. Oh, Big Bats and Fruit charts. It's something within that.
Yeah.
And so this is, again, Marcel she cannot stand not being useful. They're going to get more food because they need to do that, of course. They need to sustain themselves.
Right, yeah.
They come across these man-eating plants with fruit, and she's like, they eat people. And they're like, no, they don't. But then there is a person that literally falls out of these plants.
It was funny because they were, as they're talking, they show the plants in the background, and then there's like, oh well, these plants aren't carnivorous, and then it pans to literally a North American, oh fuck, what's it called?
Tallman? Or the type of
of plant. I forget what they're called.
Okay.
I used to have I had a phase with like carnivorous plants.
Yes.
And I'm so
as
mad
all
at
sad girls do.
As all sad girls do. True sad girl fashion.
Yep.
And I'm mad that I can't remember what it's called. But it's the one that's like a tube, and it has like the rounded top and then a little like flap.
Yeah.
And then the inside has digestive juices.
Yep.
And this is an iconic type of carnivorous plant. So as soon as they pan to that plant, I'm like, oh, well, that one definitely is. Yeah. And I think to myself, that could definitely fit a person. And then lo and behold, a person falls out.
Literally like...
yeah, no, literally just like spits it out.
Yeah, because then the plant has to fight them, because there's another type of plant that it's like... The roots will grab you, suffocate its prey, so then it can feed off of the decay.
Yep.
I don't know if that is... I'm pretty sure there has to be certain plants that are like that, I feel like. Or we just live in a fun fantasy world. Both are fine with me.
Yeah.
And so they're fighting off this plant. They finally do get the fruit. And lo and behold, guess what? It's delicious.
And Marcel does not want to admit it.
Well, she admits it by accident, and then she's like, oh, that must be why this fruit tastes so good, is so the other like animals come in and it can get the prey. How clever.
That's true. She really fought having to eat it. And she fights every single freaking meal.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that drives me nuts about her. It's like, girl, resign to it.
Sit your ass down, just eat your meal.
Eat this food. You even like so many of the meals you eat.
Yeah.
Like, she admits, like, oh, this is really good, or oh, this texture is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know? But she fights it every time.
And then in this moment, Laios is like, oh, you get it. And then she's like, no. She's like, what have I done? And she's like, Marcel, this is obviously your life. Just chill.
Just chill. Just accept
it. Just be like chill, Chuck, chill. Anyway. And then we get to again, like, they have to get food. They go to harvest mandrakes, which, as we know, if you don't know, they are a type of root plant that are known for screaming in such a petrifying manner that you will die and or go insane.
Yeah.
And which, Marcel's reaction to this, because Senshi obviously has experience. He just cuts the head off.
Yep.
Genius.
Yep. Well, before he does that, though, Marcel is like, oh, I know exactly how to handle these. Yeah. She gets out her little book, and she's like, hey, well, we have to go through this really long, cruel, complicated process. We gotta basically sacrifice a dog.
Yeah, we gotta kill a dog. We don't have a dog.
We don't. But she's like, no, but this is what we're gonna do.
Marcel, have you actually practiced this? Have you done this? No, I always felt bad for the dog. It's literally
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, and then Senshi's like, oh, no, you can just, cut the head off.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's like this beautiful little cutscene, but it's so predictable. That's the other thing, too, is it just like, it does its predictability humor, and just in such a fun way, where it's just like, Senshi goes to pull the mandrake, you hear a scream, it's Marcel that screamed. And he's like, no big deal. So then Marcel, she has to be right, as we said.
Yep. She cannot stand being useless or wrong or
having it her way.
Yeah.
So then she decides that she is going to use a big bat in order to get this.
Instead of a dog.
And she has this beautiful little narration. She's like, learning is an experience, and there's a lot of things you can learn from your action, like how I learned that it is a stupid idea to use a big bat in order to harvest a mandrake. Chaos ensues.
Cutscene to the bat flying to the tower that she's hiding in.
Yeah.
Because her idea is like, okay, well, I'll tie the mandrake to the bat.
Yeah.
Bat will fly around,
Yeah.
Kill off the mandrake. I'm safely in this tower.
Yeah.
But instead, Bat decides, actually, I'm gonna go fly right for that chick in the tower.
Yeah, because she has disturbed my nest, my roost.
Yes. How dare she? Who does she think she is?
crashes into the tower. Then we basically have a concept of roadkill, but it's dungeon kill.
Yeah.
Because the bat's not going to survive that in the scream of the mandrake.
No.
It's just all so fabulous and ridiculous. I
Is,
love
yeah.
it.
Marcel fortunately does.
Yeah.
She doesn't get, like, the full mandrake scream or anything.
Yeah, but it's there.
It's there. She goes a little loopy.
Yeah, and
for
she
a little
admits her uncomings, like, just why she did it.
Yep, she's like, oh, I didn't want to feel useless, and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, well, glad you're being honest, but...
Yeah.
Why'd you have to do that?
And then she gets an attitude towards Chilchuck.
Yeah.
My poor guy, he didn't deserve... I mean, Chilchuck probably... He's a grump. He sort of deserves it, but...
Yeah.
But... Leave Chilchuck alone. He didn't do anything wrong.
He literally just is there most of the time.
Yeah, he's one of the most useful.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is useful in their own way, and that's the beauty of this show, too.
But Chilchuck is especially useful with them being in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Marcel, frankly, not useful most of the time.
I mean, they do need a magic user, though. You can't have a campaign without a magic user.
Yeah, but she's not a good magic user is the problem.
But she at least specializes in the type of magic that's being performed in this dungeon.
That's true. So, but we don't learn about that until later in the show. So this whole time, I'm thinking she's just an absolutely incompetent blonde bitch.
Yeah. If you're gonna Marcel, as we said, elf. She is blonde. She has green eyes, elfy ears.
Yeah,
and she's in a little blue outfit. And I love her staff design. Honestly,
her staff is cute. I think it's adorable.
It's like knotted wood wrapped, and it has the circular. Like, you can tell she spent a lot of time and put a lot of energy into her staff.
Oh yeah, and I love the little leaf at the top because her little leaf will fall with her mana levels.
Yeah.
So if she's full of mana, then her staff is filling with mana, and the little leaf on the top is nice and green and perky, and it just bling.
Yep.
Just pops right up. Yep. But if she's low on mana, the poor little leaf is just... It's kind of wilting.
Which we do see later on when they fight an Undine, which is just...
Which, again, was Marcel being dumb and...
Yeah. She didn't mean to. It was legitimately an accident.
Yeah.
Still, though. But that's also, like... That's the beauty of this kind of, like... Everyone is there to take care of each other.
Yeah.
Laios is really dumb, too. Once he eats raw meat with potential... Or from a parasite. Yeah, he eats raw meat from a parasite.
That's right, yeah.
That they get off of. We're probably going to have to skip a lot. As much as I would love to do episode by episode. Yeah, that's too much.
It's like 24
Yes,
episodes?
It's 24 episodes.
24.
Yep, because we end on dumplings and griffin soup. Oh, what was that, Gigi? Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, you're right. It's last episode is not dumplings and griffin soup. I don't know. Second to last. Yeah, it's
Our bad.
Thank you, Gigi. This is why we need you here. Last episode is dumpling, bacon, and eggs.
Good episode name.
Great episode name.
How dare we mess it up?
How dare we? Thanks for keeping us in check, Gigi.
That's right. Yep. Good episode.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah. But yeah, Laios is dumb too. They kill a kraken, which, again, I love the levels because we've kind of gone for the top towers. Then we go into more classical dungeon, and this is where the golems are.
Oh,
which
so
again,
cool.
She is so cool.
Senji's so cool. They get to that level, and apparently he actually lives on this level.
Yeah.
And he takes them to his little area. He has this little home setup going on.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, well, I gotta go take care of my garden and stuff. And they're like, what? You have a garden?
Yeah.
And they go over there.
What are you talking about?
Like, we're in the dungeon. Like,
yeah.
And then he takes them over. He has the coolest farm ever. They're just golems, like earth golems. And he has grown farms on their backs, basically. And so the party just has this little interlude where they all just get to, harvest everything because it's all grown. And then they see how Senshi replants everything. He basically puts the golems to sleep temporarily until, everything can grow to a point where they can withstand, being moved around a bunch. Which is so cool. And the whole time since she's giving this speech about like the ecosystem and taking care of it and everything, and love it.
How cool do you have to be?
For real. I want to be Senshi.
I want to be Senshi.
He's so cool.
He is so cool. And it's just like, yeah, and they get to this whole point because part of the narrative is Marcel's like, oh, I love this point of the dungeon. Like, their bathrooms are always so clean and well stocked. Mm-hmm. And we find out, like, this is all Senshi.
Yeah, Senshi is the one that's cleaning everything, keeping it maintained,
and Laios is like, well, why wouldn't you just live on the surface? That's easier. Mm-hmm. And then Senshi's like, well, if I wasn't down here, who would get a zombie out of the toilet when they fall in? Or, like, who would fish the zombies out of the toilet? Who would, like, tend to the golems? Who would do this, that? Mm-hmm. Just Senshi is so cool.
He literally is.
I love it. Love it. And then,
I love it.
Just love it. Another kind of plot point. I can't remember what happens before or after this, but the living armor episode. I think that's episode 4.
I want to say.
I believe that's what it is. I do kind of want to look it up now, but gotta talk about that. That was the coolest concept I have ever seen. And this is where I do kind of want to get into the Ryoko Kui interviews. Because they're just, again, you look them up, you're going to see one from 2023, and then one from 2024. Mm-hmm. The one from 2023, it's talking more on the manga. And she talks about some of her inspiration, which D&D, of course.
Of course.
Yep, of course. Here is another sad girl trait. She talks about just kind of like fantasy in general, and specifically the game Panzer Dragoon, which I have not played, but my partner, by the way, we had a little discussion. I know one of the episodes, I'm like, we might as well call him Tombo. He would prefer to be called Tom. Anyway, my partner is a big Sega fan. Mm-hmm. If you are a Sega girly, if you're a Sega fan, you're a sad girl. You just get categorized in. Because there are so many amazing games that if you're lucky, you might get a like kind of redoing of, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Not, like, it's these fantastic high-end fantasy games that like you're just not gonna. That's just the only way you can experience.
Yeah.
And so, like, you see some of her thought process in that, too. Like, and just, like, how creative do you have to be? Like, the concept of living armor is not that it's controlled by mages like they think. Mm-hmm. It's literally, like, colonies of mussel-like creatures. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The shellfish, a mussel. Uh-huh. I can't remember the category that they're under right now of the Animalia Kingdom and everything.
No, it's a different category.
Yeah, they're a type of... They're a mollusk. There we go.
That's the word.
They're a mollusk. And so they interconnect, and the armor is their shell. Mm-hmm.
And so they contract and expand in order to move the armor around. So that's why when you, like, they take off, like, a head of one of them, they're completely hollow, because they're in between the plating of all of the armor.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
It is
That's fascinating. I've never seen that before.
Freaking cool.
That is so unique. That is so creative.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Sorry. Episode 3 is living armor.
Oh, so it is episode
So we skipped to episode 4, and now we're going back to episode 3. Because we do have to bring it up, because 2, this is also when Laios, we find out that he has a fear of living armor because it's the first way that he died.
Oh, right.
Him and Fallon were a part of a gold stripping team because that's originally when this dungeon was discovered 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. That's what they did. That's kind of what they came. That's how they started their party, got their money, all of that. And so... It's a fantastic world.
It's so fun.
Oh my gosh.
And then also we learn about another community in this episode as well, because they go down to the bar. Or the and this is supposed to...
Sorry, I just have to mention, Laios has a new sword from the living armor.
Yes, he has a new sword. That is important.
Yeah, this is important. Anyway.
He has a new sword.
His old sword, which does have the little wings too, but not as big. Mm-hmm. It's kind of, the little wings are falling apart. And he's like... Chilchak is like, oh, like, did it mean anything to you? And he's like, no, it's more of a memento. And then he's like, fuck, Laios is going to tell the story and everything. Which I love. I love the Laios energy and story and everything.
I love it. Yeah.
But we go back into episode 4. They go into a bar. We find out about a whole new community in this dungeon.
Yeah, because they go into the tavern because they have all of their vegetable wares to trade. So it looks so good. It looks delicious. Yes. Fresh grown, freshly picked.
Cabbages, carrots.
It looks so good.
Yes.
So they go into this tavern, to do a little trade. And Senshi's like, walks up to the owner, whoever he is, like, we got this,
like
blah,
the
blah,
doorman
blah.
type
the doorman type thing. And then this guy is being super rude for no reason. He is like, you got money, then get out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, and he like literally swats something, like one of the cabbages to the floor.
Yeah, like, dude.
Or a carrot, like one of the two.
Something, just...
And Marcel's like, you can't be wasteful. This is the one time that we can't stand for Marcel. She's like, how dare you waste food like that? Mm-hmm. And then, boom, a whole other scenario happens. The guy gets his in the end very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone, because this is obviously a shady tavern. It's in a dungeon. Like,
yeah.
Not that these people deserve it. It's just this guy decided to throw around good food and, whew, he paid for it in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then we have the orcs.
Orcs come in, and then they kind of just slaughter everybody in there.
Yep. They're like, just kill everyone. Yep. Take their weapons. That's literally the order.
Take all their food. And
take everything.
But they leave Senshi and his party alone, because then they recognize Senshi.
Yep.
They're like, oh, this is the guy that we trade with all the time. With, like, cabbage and carrots and all of that. And and Laios and his group, they're kind of like, what? You trade with orcs? What?
Yeah. I think Chiltuk is like, I thought that he dealt with some shady people, but not orcs. Like, it's something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And, they're trying to negotiate, but it's going south. The orcs are kind of, they're in desperate times.
Yeah.
Orcs are having a really hard time in the dungeon. They're kind of running really low on food, and so they end up kind of trying to basically just take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And take them prisoner, basically.
And in this world, orcs are kind of known as, they just pillage all the villages.
Yeah.
That's what they do, and they've been driven into the dungeon. And part of the reason, too, why they're having trouble is the red dragon is running amok.
Yeah. And so, take them prisoner. They go down to the orc camp, and so one of the things that the orcs pillaged from this tavern was actually bags of flour. And then as they're in this orc town, Senshi is like, oh, I have an idea.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yay. And then he brokers the worst deal for them ever. And because I tried to, like, write down my thoughts as I'm going through the show. And I literally wrote down, Senshi willing to throw it all away for bread?
Yes. Same. We both. I'm sorry. I went in too soon for that.
No,
but
you're
yeah.
so right. Yeah, no, same.
Yeah, because
me too.
Again, I'm like literally a toddler with the show. I've watched it so many times, where it's just like one of the orcs picks up a jar and smells it, and he's like, that's sour. And Senshi is like, don't you dare throw that away. That is yeast. That is leavening agent.
Yeah.
Bring that with us. And then they're captured, and everyone's like, okay, Senshi, like, what's the plan? Senshi's like, well, they got all those bags of flour, and that leavening agent from earlier. With all that, we can make bread.
They're like, no, like, how are we gonna get out of this situation?
Yeah.
Bread.
Oh, bread. We get it just to the cutest little village.
Yes. Oh, so cute.
Oh, and then we have the chief. I can't remember his name right now. If I think about it hard enough, it might come to me. But anyway, it just, it's so cute. We have his little child, his little orc child. Kid. And I love the design. Something that a lot of people talk about too in this show and just the manga in general. It legitimately has a vast variety of body shapes, designs.
Absolutely.
Like monster design, character design. Like this is peak character design.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout this show. And it's just like, since she's focused on making bread, we learn more of the narrative of like, people don't like orcs in this universe. anyone but orcs don't like orcs, basically.
Yeah.
And just like the little kids, they're being like, are you guys playing with mud while they're trying to make bread? And just a bit, then she makes his bread, and then the orcs are gonna be like, no. And
We're
then
not
the
sharing
little
any.
son comes in, he's like, but Daddy, we all made it together. Why can't we eat it together?
So cute. I was like, oh.
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sure I'm really insufferable right now, but I can quote this. Like, I can quote it. I hope the voices aren't too bad.
No, but you're doing great.
I love Delicious in Dungeon. This show is so great.
Of course, everyone's guilted, especially
Yeah.
the chief. You know, that being his kid. He's like,
He's like,
well, I can't say no. That's setting a bad example.
And Marcel saves face for him when she's like, well, your daddy just knows that bread is a side dish and we need all this other stuff for a meal. We need meat, vegetables for a balanced meal. And he's like, God damn it. He's like, get him. And then the most cutest montage of like they're working with the orcs. Like, obviously, these people know what they're doing. They have chickens, everything. And then they have like this great little meal.
And they share a meal. That's such a deeply community thing. Is sharing a meal with someone or people. It's so important, I would say, to everyone.
It is.
It's deeply cultural.
It drives it. Honestly, too, like, in our household, we haven't had a dining table for a while, and now that we have one, like, we're sitting down and eating with each other more. As opposed, usually we'll do that when we are, like, watching something. But Tom and I, like, we're both just our own little homebodies. Like, we are not the couple that needs to be around each other 24/7 all the time.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, I do notice we do that more. And it adds.
Yeah.
It adds, especially when I do semi-homemade meals. Because that's a lot of the capacity I have right now.
Which no one can blame you for.
Yeah, no. Yes, I can do better, but you know what? You do better.
Yeah, you try working her job, guys.
Yeah. You try being Kiki for a day.
I thought you said kinky for a second. I was like, wait. Which, that's a lot of work, too.
Yeah, that is it. Oh, it is. This episode's off the rails. I love it. Oh. Again, not Senshi. Not Senshi sexy.
No. We want to be Senshi.
We want to be Senshi.
So cool.
So cool. Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So, yeah, we get in. We're just setting up. We have so much, like, great little things happen just throughout all of this. Again, episode by episode is going to be really difficult. I'm going to try not to do that. I guess, yeah, we kind of get on our way. We do go into, like, a water level. As I said, there's a kraken. There's a kraken in the sea.
And then they cook and eat the kraken.
Yeah.
It's very...
And it's, like, the town center of this universe underwater. It's so cool.
It is super cool.
Yeah,
like, you look down and you see, like, the town underneath, which is so cool looking. Design of this is fantastic. Again, very D&D based. Like, every floor is a whole new thing going on. Fantastic. So fun. And that makes the show kind of very formulaic.
Yeah.
And very predictable.
Yeah.
However, it's so fun.
It's so fun.
It's so fun.
Again, I'm not trying to do the episode, but, like, there's even a Kelpie, which, if you don't know, it's basically an aquatic horse. And there's a whole situation with the Kelpie, and this is part of where we see Marcel start to soften with Senshi. And Laios, too, making the point that it's like, Senshi, just because you know this Kelpie forever doesn't mean that it doesn't want to eat you, and that basically is what happens. Because Senshi is anti-magic.
Yeah.
And this is, gosh, sorry, I'm not trying to do so much episode by episode, but this is where we get washed out Senshi.
Yeah, where he's just kind of like, oh, wait, hello?
Because how do you get across the water? Water walking. Magic. This is where Marcel is useful.
You become Jesus.
We need her.
Yeah.
In these later episodes, like, as we get further in, we do need magic. So that's why we need her.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, boom, Jesus on water. But it doesn't work on Senshi. And Marcel is pretty sure, she's like, I think you have so much monster blood and guts and various materials on you, like your hair and beard are caked in it, that my magic will not work.
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
It's so fantastic.
That makes me wonder, if you make, like, gear out of monster, does that become magic repellent?
That would make so much sense, which,
right.
I mean, see, that's the thing, is it's like you get enough detail in this little universe, it explains it in simple enough detail that you just grasp onto it kind of right away. And it's like, okay, this is the theory we're working off of.
And then you can start thinking of your own little theories, like me. Like, I'm thinking, like, if they made armor out of dragon parts or other monster parts, or even mix stuff up, get, like, a monster hunter deal going on.
Yes.
Would that make them repellent to magic?
Yeah.
And they do. You make, like, the frog suits later on to get through that one floor with, like, the like, poison... What was it? Poison tentacles or something?
Yeah.
Roots or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically these tentacles that they'll sting you, and they'll also grasp onto you if touched.
Right.
And they notice that the frogs aren't affected. Well, Chilchuck notices that the frogs aren't affected by the tentacles. And it's, I love this show. He's like, Laios. Because they're in a dire situation, because the frogs are going to win. And Chilchuck is like, Laios, why don't the tentacles seem to be affecting the frogs? And there's the most beautiful, like, suspenseful music happening. Laios is like, I don't know, it's just like that.
It's just how it is.
And then Chilchuck is like, the monsters are your thing, dude.
Come on.
Like, what the hell? It's just, it's all so beautifully done.
It's just so fun.
Yes.
And, formulaic, it's just, they're going through the floor, they find the monster, fight the monster, make food. End of episode. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Or they need a hunt for food, and then they find the monster, and then,
They try to go into paintings at one point. Living paintings.
Right. At that point, they had gone through a long stretch of not finding any food, so they were, kind of hungry. Yeah. Laios is like, hey, why don't I jump into this painting? Which I thought he was just delirious for a second, and then he actually jumped into the painting. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's a thing.
This is like a magical thing, a living painting within this, where periods of time are caught within this painting and are happening continuously within it.
Yep.
So there's a lot of infinity kind of concepts, immortality, all of that's happening within this universe.
Yep.
And this is part of it. Sorry, Laios, stupid idea.
Yeah. Especially because he actually comes across the Mad Mage in one of those paintings. Or several of them, actually. Yeah. So the Mad Mage is kind of this creepy looking dude. Yeah. I thought they were a lady, but apparently they're a dude.
Nope. Thistle,
yes. And they have the crazy eyes going on.
Yeah.
And they look like a dark elf, like what you would expect a dark elf to look like. And Laios' each painting that he goes through, you're kind of getting the lore on what happened with this original kingdom and the royal family and all of that.
We have the birth of Delgal. We have Delgal's wedding.
Oh, right.
Yep, Delgal's wedding. Because at first it seems like inauguration, but no, it's his wedding. And then we have Delgal's inauguration.
Right.
And it's just...
And it's a clever way to get some more backstory into the world. Yeah. And also introduce the Mad Mage. Because apparently the Mad Mage likes to kind of hang out and relive these moments in history. Yeah. Which we learn later on. And then at the, what was it, the last painting he was in? The inauguration. Yeah. Where he's like at a table, he's at a feast. He's super excited about this because all the other paintings he was never able to get any of the food.
Either the mood wasn't right or things went awry.
Yep, and he just couldn't get the food. And so now
he tries to grab it, go out, but the food does not come with him.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to eat it while I'm in the painting. Yep. And then on this last one, he actually pops into a chair right away at this giant feast. Yeah. And he's like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah. This is great.
This is it.
This is it. And he starts going to town.
Yeah. He's having for seconds.
He does. I forgot about that. Shameless.
Yep.
So funny. And then stuff starts kind of happening in the painting. And then as chaos ensues, Laios is still, like, scarfing down food, and then eventually he's like, okay, time to go now.
Yeah.
And then the Mad Mage shows up, and they're like, who are you?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
You're the same person I've seen before.
Yeah.
In all of the other paintings.
You were there when the king was born.
Yep.
Yeah. You were there when, in a part of the lore is that Delgal's father, I can't remember the name, he is subsequently poisoned, it seems, in kind of Delgal's wedding day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or it might be Delgal's birthday. We might need to do a correction later on, but I'm pretty sure.
It's one of the two.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Mad Mage is like, it's you. You're the suspicious one. And then Laios is like, oh, time to go.
Yeah, and he's like, I will burn you to ash. Like, holds on to Laios's kind of... Because he has a collar on his armor, which does come in handy.
It does, yes.
And then Laios gets pulled out, luckily, right in the nick of time, because he would have been dead.
Oh, he would have been fried.
Yeah.
Especially later on when we see how powerful the Mad Mage is. It's, Laios everything could have ended right then and there.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been the end.
But it didn't.
But it didn't.
Luckily.
They pulled him out.
Yay!
And they were fine. And poor Laios finds out that he's hungry again, because the food disappeared from his stomach.
And this is, we go into, like, they find a place to camp into the night. This is when mimics are brought up, which are, they are a mimic. They are a treasure chest that's actually a monster. It's what you want, but then you get eaten. He's like, oh.
Yep.
And Shilchuk hates mimics, of course, because he's the picklock.
Right.
And then Shilchuk has to eat a mimic. That's his one thing he doesn't want to do. Yeah. It's just fun little...
Reasonable. Yeah, honestly.
Reasonable.
I don't blame him for that.
Chaos is ensuing. Again, like... I don't want to do the episode by episode thing because it's so much, but it's like...
but it's so good.
We get through. It's so good. I know that there are important plots and, like, detail throughout. Yeah, because we run into... Who's your least favorite character, Marcel or Kabru in the gang?
Oh. Okay. Still Marcel.
Okay.
However, I don't trust Kabru.
I don't either.
Anyone that is that charismatic cannot be trusted. And he has everybody wrapped around his little finger.
Yep.
I don't like that. Yep. His eyes are too blue.
Yep.
His teeth are too white.
Electric blue.
His eyes are unsettling.
Yeah.
And I know they do that on purpose.
Yeah.
They have to.
And of course, he's dark and tan. Because it has to have that contrast.
Yep. He's a good-looking character. Yeah. He is unsettling, though.
Yeah.
But he is very charismatic. He knows the exact right things to say. And his whole party... He seems like a cult leader, honestly.
Yeah. He's treated as such.
Exactly. The way that his party treats him is he literally seems like a cult leader.
Yeah. Because Kabru is our warrior. We have Ren, who is the magic user there. Is it Daya? I believe is their dwarf. They have McBell, who is their half-foot, and then McBell comes with, oh my gosh, comes with a Cobalt,
yeah.
Which is kind of a dog humanoid, who is, it's gonna come to me. It's taking me a second. But I did forget the name of their other magic user, who is a gnome.
Oh, right. I forget about that.
Yeah, I remember their Undine, Marillahe, because that's just the coolest fucking name ever.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. But, gosh, why can't I remember the name? It might come to me later on. But anyway, yeah, like, he has cult leader vibes.
Oh, strong cult leader vibes.
Laios and the gang find Kabru and the gang dead twice.
Yep. First time they learn about treasure bugs.
Yes.
Which was really cool. It's just like living armor where they're bugs inside of the coins and the jewels and everything.
Yeah. And so that's its exoskeleton.
Yep, exactly. And then their Kabru's group, they get wiped out by this treasure that they think they found, but it actually is living insects, so they all die.
Yeah.
Laios and his party come along. They figure that out. They kind of just pile them in the corner because they don't have the mana to spare to revive them.
They don't have the resource. Marcel does, And I love, again, just like the details. Marcel puts a ghost repelling spell so that way they shouldn't get possessed.
Yep, won't become zombies or something.
Yeah.
So, they take care of them as much as they can. Yeah. And then they just kind of like, okay, well, because apparently in this system there are corpse retrievers, and they will go through the dungeon and pick up people and revive them back on the surface. Yeah. Which, that's a cool system. Yeah. Very cool.
You need it in this type of world.
Yeah. Especially when, like, dungeoneering is, like, the career to have, which is a very dangerous career.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But, they just pile them in the corner, leave them there. Kabru and his party, they wake up, and they think we've been robbed. Yeah. By very nice robbers, because they left us ghost repellent stuff, and we're alive now. And
they didn't take our valuables.
Yeah.
But they took our jewels. They took our food.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was the second time they found them. Yeah. It was in the water level.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because then they got the barley.
Yeah, the barley had gotten all in the water. And so Laios and them, they didn't really take it. They just kind of left it because it's like, well, it's not going to be any use to them now. Yeah. So let's just kind of leave it. And so by the time they woke up, it was all gone. Yeah. And they're like, oh, man, those same dudes. Yeah. It has to have been those same dudes.
Yeah. As opposed to, it's like, and the narrative is actually, it's like, well, their food rotted away, so we disposed of it. Yeah. Kabru and the gang, we just have a whole bunch. Part of two, like, Kabru and the gang, after the second time that they die, they have another party come to revive them. Yep. Which this is obviously a very high-end party.
They got money.
Yeah, they got money. I forget the name of our two gnomes.
Yeah, but they're I think they're a couple.
Yeah, they're either a couple or siblings. And I do remember Kiki and Kankei. They are the tall men of the group. Right. And then this is where we have Namari come back in.
Oh, right. Yep, because she was hired back in with these new dudes.
Yep. And is there another person?
I think it was just them.
I'm pretty sure. It's just the 5.
Just the gnomes.
Yeah, the gnomes, Kiki, Kankei.
And then Namari.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was all of them. Yeah. Well, they kind of combine a little bit into Kabru's group for a little bit. Yeah. Because they revive Kabru and his group, and they have to, give payment for it, because they spent their mana on reviving them.
And goat's blood, specifically.
Yeah. And I guess it's just the thing to always carry a revival fee on you in case someone comes across and revives you while you're in the dungeon. That way you
standard.
Standard. It's just the thing to do, apparently. Which I love all these little details. Yeah. Like the little thing, like, oh yeah, I do have my corpse retrieval fee on me. Here you go. Or not retrieval, revival fee. Yeah. And then gives that to the gnome dude. Very interesting. I love the dynamics in this kind of culture and everything. Good. It's so interesting.
I love it.
It's fun. And remind me what happens after that. They just kind of continue on together for a little bit?
A little bit. And then this is when, as we were talking about before, Marcel pisses off an Undine.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. She pours boiling water on the Undine, because this is right before we get to the next level to get down into the dungeon. So they're kind of prepping. It's like, hey, anyone who wants to do something, bathe, like this is the time to do. So Marcel does kind of like a spit bath, boils some water for that, and then pours it on the Undine, in which she gets attacked because the Undine are brutal. Yeah. It is a water spirit that, as we know, water under high pressure, deadly.
Oh, yeah.
So she pisses off this Undine. A fight ensues. She gets pierced through twice. Yeah. In the leg and on the shoulder. Luckily, they are able to save her. And, like, it's a whole thing of, like, Laios, what do we do? Because they're trying to make a fire, because that's what you fight an Undine with, but Senshi cannot make a fire fast enough. Obviously, that's not going to work. Chilchuk's freaking out. Yeah. They finally do get Marcel after she does a really good counterattack. And he's like, we get out of here!
We run!
We run! And it's the best animation. This is where like the asymmetry comes in, because it's like, It's so chaotic. It's beautiful.
So fun. It's so fun. Now we run.
And it's just like the shift of the faces.
It's just so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah. Marcel is depleted. Luckily, when they had to kill the Kelpie, they kept the liver from the Kelpie.
Yeah.
And so now they grill.
Yeah, they grill.
They grill meat because that's all they can do.
Yeah, well, Marcel is now depleted of mana. And so it's like, okay, well, now she needs to regain her mana. To regain mana, you have to eat mana-rich ingredients.
Yes.
Which the liver of a Kelpie apparently is rich in mana.
And iron.
Oh, and iron.
It's iron. It's the iron because she's lost the blood.
Oh, I thought it was her mana.
I am such a freaking... I've watched this show so many times, can you tell? Because she's lost blood, the concern right now is the iron from the Kelpie. But they had mana herbs, but since she had to use them when they stuffed the basilisk.
Right.
That was a thing. We had a basilisk, which, as we said before, chicken with the tail of a snake, but it's a snake head. And there's one of my favorite lines ever, which is, nuh-uh, the tail is the chickadee part.
The chickadee, I like that word.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. Anyway, so yeah, they don't have any mana-rich ingredients. Well, then these revivers come along, and they can't pay to have Marcel, like, healed.
Right.
And instead, the gnome guy is just like, I got this. Yeah, you pissed off an indie, but I got this. And you all can't see this, but I'm like closing my eyes, like moving my arms around, like my little hands, like, I got this. I'm gonna go. We've been gnomes and spirits, we two together. Like,
we're besties.
We're best friends. Like, we have such a great relationship. No. Sundine's pissed off. He ends up using Namari as a human shield. So he doesn't get killed.
Yeah.
Namari's pissed.
Well, yeah.
And he's like, you always use me as a freaking human shield, like as a meat shield. And he's like, yeah, that's why I pay you so much.
Which, you know.
Terrible.
But, I mean...
This is the universe.
She's accepting that payment, then that's kind of on her.
Yeah, exactly.
If, like, these were the terms that she agreed to, and...
And so, kind of as a side, like, to kind of make a snide comment and be like, Namari, check yourself. Then our gnome guy, he's like, hey, I'm actually trying to decipher and make note of some writing, some runes nearby. My regular person, unreliable, Laios, will you help and I will heal your mage user? And he's like, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And this is when we get our first scent of tentacles monsters.
Oh, yep.
Because a thing we figure out too is Laios' special sword. It's like monsters. It will alert him when there is something around.
Yeah, because it has the same living armor in it.
Yeah, it has little mollusks.
The little mollusks.
It's like these little eyes that pop out.
Yeah. Which is really cool. Very so Parasite-esque, which I don't know if you've seen that one.
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I'm familiar with the concept of it.
Yeah, so it's like the alien in his hand called Migi, because it's his right hand, which means right in Japanese, but anyways.
There we go.
Same little two eyes will like pop up out of his hand. It looks exactly like the sword. Yeah. Just like a slightly different color. No, that's what it reminds me of.
No, yeah. Nope, I can see that, and I haven't seen all of that part, but I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
So, yeah, we have all that, and Laios is like, there's a monster, and the gnome guy's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Where's the monster then?
Yeah.
And Namari's like, we should trust Laios, and this is after a whole little bonding moment of Laios does trust Namari, even if she left the party. She's like, yeah, I wouldn't trust anyone else with weapons and advice than you. You're the person.
Yeah.
And we do later find out that part of this is Namari is actually the child of a dwarf named Weapon Stealer.
Which is kind of a lame name.
Yeah.
But it is to the point.
Yeah, it's to the point. And I guess he caused some strife amongst the tall men in this village and everything.
Yeah.
Had
some issues.
There's so much.
Long story short, Namari knows her stuff.
Yeah. Namari knows her stuff. And she's like, hey, we should trust Laios. And it's like, fine, we'll drive out the monster. Kiki of the group, because Kaka and Kiki are brother-sister, goes to use a bow and arrow. What are they called? It's the automatic one. Not the automatic, but you know what I'm talking
crossbow.
about. Crossbow. Crossbows.
Yeah. The automatic one.
The automatic one. The
You're
automatic
right,
bow. You have to draw it back, but you just pull the trigger, boom.
Yeah.
Crossbow tries to shoot out this monster.
Mm-hmm.
Not happening. It's tentacles, and it's like, Laios is like, oh, that does make sense. Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah. And so these ones sting you. These
Mm-hmm.
tentacles, they like have barbs, and they cause you to inflame. All of that. So
yeah, mean stuff.
Yeah, mean stuff. Basically, Laios needs to be caught in order to get the crossbow back, so then Senshi can kill the monster.
Yeah.
It's just also perfectly lined up. And we have the cutest moment, too, of, like, Laios is all swollen.
Looks like dogs when they get stung by a bee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, like, the gnome has to, of course, like, heal his party members first.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, Laios, your turn. He's like, oh, thank you, but, you know, can you help her first?
Oh.
Like, help Marcel first?
Yeah.
And so, heal Marcel. They have to figure out still what to do with this Undine, because it will go away eventually.
Yeah.
But they don't have the time.
Yeah.
So, they end up capturing the Undine using, as I was talking about before, Senshi's cool-ass pot and lid.
And lid.
Because it is a amenti? Yeah.
Yeah.
An amenti.
Uh-huh.
Which, terminology-wise, it is a type of very durable and precious type of metal.
Yeah.
That-
Namari is like
Yeah.
super excited when
Yeah.
she hears that Senshi stuff is made out of that.
Yeah.
She's like, that's top of the line stuff. You can
Like-
block dragon fire with that.
Yeah. It's like Blacksmith's dream of this.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, she's like, why was it turned into a pan? He's like, oh, well, it was the shield before, but it didn't have much use for me then.
She's like, what the hell?
yeah. Well, and she makes a jab at it. It's just like, why was this turned into a shoddy pot? And he's like, that, how dare you? This is not shoddy. This is a family heirloom. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. So they capture the Undine, because this can actually contain, and this is when Mari comes in, because Tallman, it's originally Senshi and Laios, but Tallman really are not all that strong.
No.
No.
Not in comparison to a dwarf.
Perfect, yeah.
Like, they're stronger than, like, a half-foot, physically stronger than, like, an elf, but definitely not as strong as a dwarf.
Yeah, no. So,
Which, I love all these little racial differences that they put in this. It's so cool. Just develops it so much more. Especially later on when we get that swapping around.
the Changeling episode.
Yes. So good.
It's so good. I love this. Everyone. It's been so long. Okay, we're gonna get up to a certain point, and then I think we need to take a little break. But anyway, we're gonna get there. We have the whole. They capture the Undine. It works.
Yep.
It's beautiful. They boil it to kill it, and then Marcel drinks basically just the boiled water, and it's like, yay, mana!
Yay,
and then they make the
replenished.
most delicious looking stew ever. And
everything is the most delicious thing ever.
yeah, and they're like, Namari, you have to try this. And Namari's like, oh, this is my punishment. And then Namari's like, oh, this is actually good. And she's like pushing it onto her party members, and they're like, no, thank you.
We'll eat our regular food.
Yeah, we'll eat our regular food.
And you can tell they have money because they have nice food.
They have nice food. They have a nice equipment. They're established. Like, this isn't just your regular old dungeon, like, party campaign.
Yeah,
like,
especially because their goal is not to find treasure. It's to do research.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, this is clearly like a funded operation going on.
Yeah, like, these are experts in the manner. And again, too, that's part of the exchange is they're going to decipher some runes. I believe that is how the terminology is used, runes.
Yeah, runes.
Okay. In that, because it is very obvious that there is a very powerful spell in this dungeon. And two, that gets explained within this of how... Because Senshi does not like that people can be revived.
No, he very much is of the belief that once you die, you should be dead.
Yeah, and he's like, he describes it as like, it puts a pit in my tummy, or like a pit in my stomach, every time that I see someone revived. because Namari gets revived, as we said, because she was used as a meat shield. um, and so we have this sort of explanation of Marcel kind of puts it like, well, souls are like eggs, and once you crack the shell, that's when the soul spills out. But here, there's a spell that keeps the soul bound to the body longer. And so that's kind of the narrative that we get there. Anyway, we get the Undine. We go through all that. We're there.
All that happens.
All that happens. And then one of my favorite episodes, the Tentacles and Frogs. I love that episode.
It's so fun.
Much. It's so cute. As we said before, they get attacked by frogs. There's all these tentacles. Laios tries to cut through it all at first. And then it's like, oh, sword goes out, like, something's wrong. There's a monster. It's frogs.
Yeah. Giant frogs.
They take Laios' sword, which is Kinsuke.
Yep. He's named it
Kinsuke. Marcel's staff, after she does an explosion spell to kill one of the frogs, who is Ambrosia, which I meant to look more into, like, what the lore is there, because at least here in the States, it is a type of salad that would be served at a potluck generally.
Ambrosia?
Ambrosia, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ambrosia, I believe, is something from Greek mythology.
Okay.
It is basically the elixir of the gods.
Okay.
It's the drink that the gods have.
Which is so funny. I'm sorry, everyone. Ambrosia, I think, is so disgusting. Because there's multiple versions. It's like either mini marshmallows with marshmallow fluff and then usually some type of mixture of fruit cocktail in there. Or there's another style that it will be called frog eye salad in some places, where it is couscous. That is still done in the, like, there's mini marshmallows, there's a marshmallow fluff, and then the fruit cocktail within it. A lot of people are probably screaming of, like, that's bastardization. That's not how my mom makes it. Some people put shredded coconut in it too. There's just various versions. Anyway.
I don't know.
It is actually elixir of the gods.
I don't know. I'm picky about marshmallows.
I love them, but not like that.
I very rarely like marshmallows, especially when it's by themselves. It's something about the texture with them. It just makes me, especially like big marshmallows.
I am the opposite. I love marshmallows for a snack.
Yeah. So the little marshmallows, I like those a lot more.
Yeah.
Like, we tried those, like, strawberry type marshmallows.
Yeah, the Hello Kitty ones.
Those are actually really good.
Those are so good.
I quite liked those. But just most often s'mores or just marshmallows, big marshmallows, make me feel, like, icky.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
No.
So s'mores is hit or miss for me, but definitely, I don't know. Not my thing.
Yeah, fair. But anyway, our Scout of the Elixirs, but just what I think is a terrible dish, staff gets through too.
Right.
They're left with Senshi's shoddy axe, which has been pointed out by Namari that this axe is very shoddy. It's very beat up. And so the frogs are trying to take it. They're having to repel. Chilchuck's like, I can't do anything. I don't have a weapon. Like, y'all don't lose our last weapon.
And Chilchuck doesn't really fight anyways.
Yeah.
He very much is like a retreat in the background, let everyone else do their thing.
Yeah. And there is a reason for that.
Yeah. It's totally fair.
Yeah, it's fair. We'll get into it. But anyway, that's when Chilchuck notices, and there's the narrative too of, like, Marcel, be careful of the walls, because she goes to lean. And he's like, don't do that. This tentacle monster is known for getting into traps, and they'll take you into the trap, basically.
Right.
And so he sees a tentacle monster that he's like, I am confident that's a trap.
Yeah.
So how do I get that trap to the frogs? I mean, he notices too, like, hey, the frogs are unaffected, as they said.
Yeah.
And he's like, Laios, why? Laios is like, oh.
Why asking
he's like,
me?
What use are you at this point, Laios? Come on.
This is supposed to be your specialty.
This is your thing.
You never shut up about this.
Chilchuck is like, I got an idea. He starts to skin the frog that Marcel has blown the head off of, uses them as gloves to get the tentacles to try to get it onto the frog. It's like all very chaotic. He gets swallowed up, and I'm like, no!
I'm like, oh no,
Chilchuck! And that's literally everyone's like, Chilchuck! Oh my gosh. Again, I have a love for Chilchuck too. I do love Chilchuck.
He's great.
He's so great. Just Chilchuck is me. Chilchuck is my vibe. Anyway, yeah. So Chilchuck gets eaten. And then luckily the trap works. Somehow magically this frog doesn't go off because it's like descending stairs down.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Somehow magically the frog doesn't fall off and just like plummet him and Chilchuck to their deaths.
Yeah.
And then they pull out poor Chilchuck covered in slobber.
Oh, that'd be so gross.
And then Laios sees his little, and they like unwrap his little frog skinny hands that he's put on. And it's like, that's genius. Like, it didn't harm you at all. And then Laios is like, Chilchuck, this is a good idea. And then it's just kind of like, is it that time? Because that's kind of a thing that starts in the episode is like, Senshi and Laios are like, is it time for that thing? Okay. And Senshi starts cooking.
Because that's his thing.
Laios starts skinning frogs. They're narrating, and Marcel like she cannot deal with it.
No.
She's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then we get our and like again, Senshi has made the best looking food ever.
Oh, so good.
Frog legs with like chili peppers, and there's like a gnocchi that he makes with the tentacles.
Oh yeah. Looks delicious.
And there's like another dish too, but I can't remember. It's like a noodly dish almost.
Yeah.
And then Laios has made suits out of the frog skin. Again, I cannot tell you my love. Like, I have a bit of a shirt idea that we'll get into. But it's like these frog skins made into suits so they can just walk down through the tentacles so it doesn't affect them. And obviously Marcel is not having any of it.
She's like, no, I'm not putting on this.
She's like,
suit.
I am not putting that on. And so they have to convene, like Chilchuck, Laios, and Senshi like have to convene with each other, and they're like, just okay. And they're like, Marcel, we all talked about it, and we agreed that you would look real cute if you put this on.
Which, when I saw that, I was like, that's so stupid. That's not gonna work.
It's Marcel.
I should have known.
Yeah.
It works.
And just like the cut to her face, just it's like, that's a lovely color on you.
They're all like giving compliments while she has it on.
And Laios is like, I like how their little eyes make it look like we have little ears. From the frogs, because of course, like the eyes of a frog, they like stitch that part up, and it looks like they have little ears. It
does.
And it's like orange and reds. It's
bright orange.
So fantastic.
It's really cute.
And Marcel is just very much like, shut up. And they just go down and they're just eating their food merrily. It's the most cutest, like gorgeous, like they're in a magical land animation as they're going through the tentacles. And then boom, there's Kensuke, there's Ambrosia.
Yep, they find them.
Marcel and Laios are reunited with their weapons. They're so
very
happy.
Yep.
And this is right before we get into the pinnacle of this show.
Yep.
And where we're going to take a break.
We'll be right back.
We will be right back.
Because I have to pee.
Yes. Same in all the breaks. We will get to the Red Dragon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun!
Thanks for joining us on that adventure, guys. If you'd like to listen to more, please check us out on our website. We are at sadgirlsinanime.com.
You can also find us on Blue Sky and Instagram as Sad Girls and Anime Podcast. We're also on Reddit, Sad Girls and Anime Pod. Thanks again for crying with us. Oh my gosh. Home the gnome. How did I forget that? It's literally the perfect gnome name.